guys, what is going on? Devon here. Hope you guys are having a good day so far, and welcome at long last to the newest episode of Kingdom Hearts 101. I am joined, per usual, by the man, the myth, the beard, Mr. Josh Music. Josh, say hello.
Hello, Josh.
Yeah, buddy, we're back. Josh, I checked the last episode that we uploaded. It was back on April 6th. When we upload this, it'll be July. It's
Holy.
Yeah.
It's been a short time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's crazy. But you want to know what's also crazy, Josh?
The game.
Well, yeah, the game, and we're going to get into it. But even more crazy than that, we have another co-host with us today. If you guys are a long-time Shadow Shuttler viewer, then you'll probably recognize this man. Please welcome the one and only Mr. Sawyer May. Sawyer, say hello.
What up, everyone?
Hey! What's good, buddy? It just so happened that we were going to be beating the game around the time that Sawyer was going to be coming and visiting, so I thought it'd be nice to have him on the podcast and sort of talk all things Kingdom Hearts, even though...
2 to be exact.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 2. It's the only one I've played. You're all gonna hate me, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Jolly Can.
I'm getting around to it.
I'm warming up. Just getting used to it.
Yeah, also just quick before we get into it, guys, in case you do notice this, yes, we are recording off of a phone. All of my recording stuff is in another location at the moment, so it'll probably go back to the same format that you heard from the past few episodes for the next episode. Right now, we just decided to do this really quick because we have just beat Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It took us a while. It took us a few months because I wanted to take Josh through everything in the game. All the secret bosses, all the optional worlds, everything leading to that's going to be more or less important for other games later on. And I mean, it's my favorite game of all time, so of course I want to show Josh everything I can about the game. So per usual, we're just going to talk about the game and then just sort of have a brief discussion about it, anything that we liked, disliked, and eventually we're going to talk about what to expect for the next games going forward. So to kick things off, gentlemen, in general, actually, before we get into our thoughts and whatnot, I just want to quickly reiterate. Sawyer, you said that Kingdom Hearts 2 is the only game in the series you played.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the only series that I've played. I've watched a bit of Kingdom Hearts, the original game, so it's not like I'm completely lost, but anything beyond Kingdom Hearts 2...
Yeah.
Lost on me.
Yeah. Well, you might be around when we decide to do the next game, but we'll get more into that later. But
Absolutely.
Okay. Just wanted to reiterate in case Sawyer doesn't jump in that much. Just that we have that sorted. But
I'll try. I promise. I'll try.
Yeah. He'll just be sitting in the back drinking his beer. It'll be fine.
Drinking, I'm already done.
Oh.
Jeez, you should have grabbed another one before we started.
All right.
Right?
Yeah. So if we sound a little intoxicated, gentlemen, it's the Canada Day weekend. We're having a good time. But yeah, I guess just to get into it, Josh, what did you think of Kingdom Hearts 2?
What? What?
We're back on this bullshit again.
No, I liked it, but like, holy Mother Teresa, that is a lot going on. Yeah, it's like they took the first game and decided to just go ham with everything.
Yeah, more or less.
Well, everything for the most part, except for platforming, except for certain areas, but that's another detail. Yeah. But yeah, everything else, story, combats, worlds, hell, even the fucking gummy ship missions.
Favorite part.
Oh,
Yeah. Trust me, the first one was okay, but definitely the second, these ones are way better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seemed like they just decided to like, you know what? We need more of everything. No exception.
More or less, yeah.
So it's good, but it's like, wow, there's a lot to take in. And it's a decently long game, too.
Yeah, we obviously we took a little bit more time with it because our schedules were all over the place. But yeah, even still, Kingdom Hearts 2 like takes a fairly longer time than Kingdom Hearts 1 would to beat.
Like, even if we took out the final mix stuff, like if we didn't touch that at all, well, the stuff, like, skip the stuff you can, like, it's still, like, I'm surprised on how long it was, like, for a PS2 game. Like, I never had a PS2, but, like, playing games from that era, like, I don't remember games being that long. Maybe my memory fails me, but it felt like games would usually be a lot shorter. But, yeah, overall, I'd say I'm saying this now, overall, I enjoyed the game. I really like the series. I actually love the series right now. I'm actually kind of debating, depending on how far I get into it, I may or may not look at adding. I want to get a tattoo. I have an idea already. And there's something I kind of want to add from Kingdom Hearts possibly down the future. But who knows? I might change my mind. Who knows? But overall, fantastic game.
He's on the path to becoming a fan, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, I like it. I love the fact that, like, because Disney as a whole hasn't really done much video games wise and movies wise. Well, animated movies wise for the last little while. They've done some stuff, but not a whole lot. So this is like really big to me. Okay. Well, usually we go after like what the favorite worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. We're really just shooting the shit on this, guys. But sort of, I guess we can quickly talk about the gameplay just to get that out of the way, because Kingdom Hearts 2 moves like butter, ladies and gentlemen. This game is so fluid. I think I've harped on Kingdom Hearts 1's combat a lot for it being a little bit clunky. There's some cool mechanics in it, like the different abilities like Ars Arcanum and Strike Rate and all that. That's pretty fun. But like for the most part, it's really like stiff to try and control Sora and stuff like that. So going into Kingdom Hearts 2, you have so much freedom, like moving around, his new growth abilities, all the different attacks that just feel really crisp and clean and smooth to pull off. Is like it's a lot of fun when you get like a good groove going when you're like attacking enemies. It's really fun.
Well, even in the original PS2 version, I found the combat to be a little choppy at times. Mm-hmm. This remastered version on the PS4 has brought the combat full circle and has made it so much smoother, so much crisper, better. It's a whole new experience, really, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. It's nostalgic, but it's also adding more depth, right? You're not getting that choppy frame-by-frame picture that you would in the original game where it kind of feels disjointed, disconnected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's much smoother. So in the small little bit that I've seen from today on the PS4 version, I was very impressed with graphics and gameplay mechanics, how smooth it was.
Yeah, especially for the remaster version on the PS4, like running at like 60 FPS is it's so satisfying. Especially, I think really I'm playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro, so the game is optimized for it, and it runs so nice. It's so good.
Yeah,
you can see every hit. Mm-hmm. There'd be times where on the PS2 it would be so hard to render that you'd missed a few hits, so you wouldn't see everything that happened. You'd fight a guy and there'd be so much going on the screen that it would jump cut a bit, and then the guy would like if you were fighting a Heartless, it'd just disappear.
Yeah.
Right. So seeing everything go down now with better rendering is, like you said, super satisfying. Super cool to see.
Yeah, definitely the combat's been improved since the first game. I'd say overall, yes. I'm going to lead on to another point afterwards, coming back to that, but I guess, I don't know, should I just break off into that, I guess?
Break off into...
the next thing. Well, I was just going to say, like, I guess to move on, like, this is my major gripe with the game, is, like, I'm glad they added stuff, but, like, the whole less is more that plays on with the combat. It's just, like, you've got limit forms, and you've got summons, and you've got like beforehand. Yes, you did have summons in the first game, and occasionally I'd use them, but you know, didn't need to be. But with this is like with so many different types of limit forms, and then what's the other thing?
Yeah, so dry forms, the limit attacks.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
getting them mixed up. Dry forms and unlimited attacks, like on top of summons and regular attacks and magic. It's like I'm glad they added more stuff, but like holy cow, like I almost wish they could have maybe took out limit attacks and just had the dry forms and even reduced the like I would have been fine with just 2 dry forms. Like have the one Valor and then drawing a blank on the other one.
What color is it? It's the
Blue.
Oh, the wisdom form.
Wisdom. That would have been fine with just those 2. Like well, in final form maybe, but like I just felt like there was so much going on, like combat wise, that I'd have a hard time keeping track of like, okay, well, what should I use and what should I level up? I just end up kind of like not really using a whole lot. And then when you get, if I didn't want to get too used to using these forms because there is a negative aspect to them on top of that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then you can't heal yourself in that negative aspect with the. So it's like, well, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it's like I just want to get used to not really using them as like relying on them, but using them occasionally. That's what I end up doing is using them mostly for boss battles. Because on top of that, you also have to fill up the gauge as well because you can only use it for a set amount of time. It's like, holy shit. In the first game, it was just like, okay, well, I'll use magic occasionally and I'll use summons occasionally, but like basically you can button mash. Like I'm not saying I want a game to be straightly button mashing. I want it to be a little bit of having to plan stuff out, but goddamn, so much shit going on.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think it's. I think we've already talked about maybe earlier in some of the other podcasts. We are playing on a slightly easier difficulty. For Kingdom Hearts 1 and for the little bit we played of Chain of Memories, we were playing on beginner. KH2 we played on standard because beginner mode in KH2 is child's play. But I feel like once you get into like the really harder difficulties, it really forces you to use all of your assets that you have available. Like critical mode is no joke. Like they do a bunch of extra stuff. Like they give you a bunch of extra items and AP at the beginning, but they also slash your HP and MP in half. You deal extra damage, but enemies also take more damage from enemies as a trade-off. So it's like a bunch of even stuff that makes you like try and like sort of mix and match your play so that you can find the best way to get out of any situation. It's really fun, and I recommend if you have the game, I'd recommend you try it out because it's, yeah, you're going to be frustrated for the first little bit, but it's ultimately really satisfying when you're able to get past like a really hard boss like the like the absent silhouettes.
Oh my god. Jeez Louise. So yeah, combat, and that's the other thing. I guess this is still leading on to combat. Is fact that the big one here.
I was making fun of you the whole time we were playing this. I'm so sorry.
Dodge. I freaking so. That's another. I guess this would also lead on to like the biggest gripe. Well, having too much isn't really so much of a gripe. It's like I don't need to use all those forms. I don't need to use like I clearly got through the game without using and leveling up every form and leveling up everything to the max I could. So like I could have even just focused on one form. Like say if I just wanted to level up Valor form completely and just use only Valor and whatnot. But the biggest thing that would frustrate me, but again this is not really needed, but the fact that the bosses near the end, and then like some of the bosses they added because this is the
remix version, yeah.
Yeah, so the remix version they added more stuff too. Block, which is something I rarely ever use because I'm too busy jumping and moving out of the way or just flat out not standing still when you unlock like dodge roll, and like block becomes basically just forgotten and rarely ever used. And it frustrated the hell out of me that all of a sudden I encounter really tough fucking bosses that you have to use block. There's no joke. Like, you can't just keep moving out of the way because you'll get squashed. But I agree with Devon. The more you play, and if I was playing on a harder difficulty, I guarantee block would become more useful. And there was probably ways I could have just changed up the abilities to make sure this block was the only thing I had. But nevertheless, it's just like, okay, well, you added all the stuff that I can use, but now it's also hindering me in the fact that I can't use block because it's hard for me to stop moving. It's hard for me to just let go of the joystick and just block because you're just not used to it. You're always used to moving. At least I was. At least in my play style. I don't know if it's just me or if it's just like circumstance, but yeah. Other than that, combat, A-okay. Like I said, that was just bosses added, and there was also just bosses near the end. And even still, the bosses near the end, I still probably could have got away without using block, but it definitely helped out near the end. But yeah. So yeah, combat, way better than the first game. I wish they could have just toned down a little bit of things, but again, it's optional. So it is a little distracting when you've got way too many options, in my opinion. It's like, okay, first game, got a few options. Second game, holy shit, I think we've got way too many options. Tone it down just a little bit. Like, it's awesome to see all this cool stuff and having different forms and stuff like that. But jeez Louise, how many is there?
I think there's 5 limit. Well, technically in the original version there was only 3, 4 if you were able to unlock a final form, whereas in Final Mix they added the 5th one, which is limit form. So you have Valor, Wisdom, Limit, Master, and Final Form. Or Anti-Form if you spam it too much.
So it's just like, holy cow. And then on top of that, the limits.
Yeah, the limit attacks for certain party members and stuff like that.
Which I don't even know how many there would be for limit. Probably a lot.
Yeah, if you really take into account like all the party members that you have in certain worlds.
So you've got to invest a lot of playtime like to figure out, okay, what, like say if you wanted to use lots of limits, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to invest a lot of time to figure out, okay, which limit by which party member is good to have and good to use.
Mm-hmm. And again, that kind of adds to like the replay value of it.
That's true, but it's just like, yeah, I guess. I try to see this from both sides as best I can. Like, I'm not trying to be totally skewed and like, no, this is totally, like, why would they do this? But, yeah, at first it's just like, holy shit, this is overwhelming with the amount of combat options I've got. It's just like, okay, like, actually, that would have been nice. I don't know if they do this for later games. I doubt it, but it would have been nice. Like, you know how I could set up hotkeys for magic and then, like, items?
Yep.
I wish you could do that with limit and dry forms. Like, well, if they just expanded the hotkey bar with another 2 spaces, because, like, then I wouldn't have to scroll through and try to figure out what limit and what form I want to use all of a sudden. Like, say if, like, okay, well, that would be perfect in my eyes. Have as many options as you want, but have a way to have shortcuts to tailor the individual need of the player at that time. Because say if you're going into a boss battle that needs a ranged attack quite a bit, Wisdom form would be awesome for that. Mm-hmm. And then maybe the next boss you need Valor form because you just want to do a lot of damage up close and personal. You don't want to be far away. Say like they're a ranged member and they've got shit close and personal attacks, but the range attacks are really like devastating. Mm-hmm. Like that would be perfect. You could just change up your hotkey to whatever you want depending on the boss battle. You lose a few times with the wrong setup. You change things up, put it in your hot key as much as you want. There you go. Because I did that a little bit with magic spells. I was like, oh shit, I need reflect because I'm getting my ass pounded by these attacks. I need reflect, or I need to change things up because I'm just goofing things up. But that would be perfect for the next games. I doubt they do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that is something to look into. I think that I'm trying to remember if there's any of the later games that do something like that, because I feel like when you describe that, like I feel like they do something similar to that in later games. But yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that.
Now to think about why didn't they like that would be perfect.
Yeah, because like they allow you to do it for magic and items. I'm not quite sure why they wouldn't let you do it for like drive and limit. Maybe for drive specifically because they don't want you abusing it, which is why they have anti-form in the game.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, you also have the drive gauge too as well. Like, it's definitely they balance that pretty well. But I mean, like, when I do need it, like half the time, like I'm scrolling down and trying to pay attention to the battle and also try to select stuff at the same time. It's like, fuck, if there was just a hot. Well, then again, there's only. Oh no, there's tons of buttons on the freaking.
Yeah, there's 4 buttons.
Yeah.
You got circle, triangle, square.
So you just add another 2, like even if it was just like.
Not just that, you got the D-pad on the left side as well.
Yeah, if they just did the D-pad like up and down or left and right or something like that.
I think they do actually fix that in one of the later games, but yeah.
Maybe like you can say instead of having a magic, you can pick a drive form or a limit. Like
not necessarily that, but they do allow you more spaces to have more options to like switch through and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say like if they had that like even like if I just had 2 magic, an item and then a limit or drive form, like even if it was still just 4 because they just want you to use like the what are they called? Just like the action buttons, like triangle.
Oh, the reaction commands, yeah.
Yeah, like if they just had like that would be fine. Reaction commands. That's another thing that they added. Reaction commands I'm fine with. I think they're actually kind of cool. They don't show up all the time, which is nice. That I have no complaints with. I feel like that was added.
When they do show up, the animations are amazing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think that in itself makes up for having reaction commands to begin with.
Yeah. So combat wise, I overwhelmed. Like me personally, overwhelmed with how many options there are. I wish they would streamline the shortcuts a little bit. But other than that, still a shit ton of fun. Way better than the first game. Just personally, I'm more of a simplistic guy. I like to have just fewer things in my face when I'm trying to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, combat A1.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of in the same camp. There is a lot to use in Kingdom Hearts 2. I think one of its strengths though is that you don't especially when you're playing on easier mode like we were. It is kind of you don't necessarily have to rely on all of it. It's purely optional if you want to use it. So it kind of works out in that way, I suppose. But I think is there anything else about gameplay that you wanted to talk about or?
I guess the fact that like they only really had what's it called? I'm really not my brain is gone. Platforming. They kind of basically got rid of platforming almost completely.
Oh yeah. The world design is a little bare bones, my guy.
I wish they didn't do that. So like I get maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh god, I'm assuming they got a lot of like negative reviews.
Yeah, that was one of the big criticisms of Kingdom Hearts 1 is that the platforming was not fun at all.
But it would be like...
Which is hilarious because like they add all of these growth abilities that like make Sora's movement so smooth. Why would you not capitalize? Well, I guess in the Final Mix version they do capitalize on it, but like in a lot of the base worlds, they don't really do that much with the platforming. It's really just a lot of flat rooms that you walk into.
Which is just kind of disappointing. Like, yeah, that's kind of... That, I guess, would be the only real gripe I have with the game. It's like, why add all this cool stuff? Like, you could still, like... You can jump and do a lot of cool stuff. And then the rooms are flat. It's like, well, why? It's like, I get maybe not wanting to screw it up again, quote unquote, with the platforming, but like, just learn from your mistakes. They should have, put more effort and do some research on what good platforming is, and then just gone from there, or just not have these growth abilities that make you perform actions like that. It just doesn't make. It's just kind of weird. It's just why, but
yeah, they do kind of fix it though with the in the final mix version with the Cavern of Remembrance, where like they do add a lot of new like platforming mechanics to help you get around and stuff, which makes that area a lot of fun.
yeah, that I'm glad they came back with, but like, yeah, that is like the only place that they really did platforming that makes sense.
I guess speaking of the other worlds, do you want to jump into a discussion of like the world selection and stuff like that?
Yeah.
All right. So, Josh, what would you say was your favorite world in Kingdom Hearts 2? New or returning? Doesn't really matter.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess I kind of like Hollow Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
Slash.
Yeah, Radiant Garden.
Radiant Gardens. I thought that. I don't know. I just like the level design. It came in quite a bit. Like it had a lot of cool cutscenes and battles there. There was a lot going on. Probably like a bunch of my favorite characters, like all the Final Fantasy VII and Merlin and Pooh Bear.
Yeah,
It's all right there. Scrooge McDuck chilling out. So yeah, I guess I don't know why I really like that one. As a returning world, obviously, it's a no-brainer. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, buddy.
Um,
They added another redesign of the character,
which I freaking loved. I'm trying to think of some other ones I liked.
Yeah, because they had. I think. I'm trying to remember.
I think it's Land of Dragons.
Land of Dragons, the Mulan world.
Yeah, the Mulan world.
Yeah, Land of Dragons.
That one was really well done as well. I like the. Well, actually, that one's probably like in terms of like level design and story and whatnot. That one was really good because you had like the mountain area and like you have different areas. Like they all were kind of like all different. They weren't all just like extended like. You know what I mean? Like you had like mountain area where it's snowing, and you had like grass, like a grassland, and then you had like the camp, and then you had like the actual like palace. Like that had a lot going on. Now think about it, compared to many of the other worlds, it just felt like rooms were just extending of rooms. Like it was just the same hallway. Just it's like the Fred Flintstones where they're running by. And it's just the same backdrop being replaced like over and over again in a circle. Like that's not that horrible, but like the same idea of like okay, it just feels like it's kind of being stretched out because of loading issues and loading screens. Like you obviously can't have this big huge room in a PS2 game. But like that one specifically felt like, oh wow, I'm actually heading into a different area almost every single time, and it all looks different. Like that must have took time to, okay, we need to make this spot, this spot, this spot. So I guess overall that one's my favorite, but I definitely love Hollow Bastion / Radiant Garden and the returning champion Nightmare Before Christmas. That's always my favorite.
Nice. Should we talk about our least favorite world now? Just get it out of the way.
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, just rip it off like a Band-Aid. Atlantica, what the fuck, man?
I love Atlantica. It's so much fun.
I was gonna say it was my favorite.
Yeah. I love our poor underwater controls being turned into a random minigame world full of music that is really bad.
Even in the original version, that was my least favorite. The amount of times I rage quit on that world itself is insurmountable.
It's just like, this is not a slight against the music in Little Mermaid. Like, that movie's classic. It has great music, but like some of like just the fact that the world was reduced from something that already wasn't really that fun in the first game to something more or less unnecessary in this game, in addition to some really bad music. I'm sorry, Yoko Shimomura. You did a wonderful job with the soundtrack, but this was not finest work.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is too, because it wasn't an optional world.
Yeah, it was an optional world.
You imagine getting to the cutscene at the end of the game with them and just being like, "What the fuck was this?"
Yeah,
Because they do show up at the end. The Prince Eric and Ariel just on the boat. It's like, wait, where the fuck was this?
Yeah. Where were you guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that so? That's the same thing with you, Sawyer? Like that's probably your least favorite world.
From the original one that I can remember, yeah, absolutely. The gameplay, the mechanics for underwater were just horrid.
What about what's your favorite one then? Your favorite world?
It's funny you say, because even from the original PS2 that I can remember, my favorites were Hollow Bastion and Mulan's World.
Really?
Yeah, same thing. I really, really, really liked that they went into depth with different areas of that world, right? The snowy mountains, the palace, the camp, right? I think that one was one of the more diverse worlds where you can explore the actual terrain more than other worlds. So when you were saying that, I was kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, it's funny because I'm like, that's even the same for the PS2 version as well, in my own personal preference.
Yeah.
You know, I'm also a fan of the Pirates world, but it's just because it's pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates
It's
of the
like your
Caribbean
favorite.
It's one of, yeah.
I think it's like your favorite Disney live action movie, right?
It is.
Series.
It's a Pirates 1, by the way. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but no, it holds a place in my heart. I don't think like creatively wise, I don't think it was one of like the more fleshed out worlds. There's definitely better experiences, but I, for nostalgia purposes, really loved Pirates.
Oh, actually, scratch that. What was it called? The black and white one. The once was it?
Timeless River.
Timeless River. That one. Well, no, I still think Mulan is really good, like diversity wise when it comes to different layouts.
Yeah.
But in terms of like sheer like put a smile on my face. That one immediately, like I was like a kid in a candy shop. I've never had the biggest grin on my face. I think, did I not look over it? I just had like the biggest like grin on my face. Like, this is amazing. I love this. I wish more games kind of would do like. It made me really happy. I think actually now. I still really like Mulan, but in terms of my favorite, I think that one's actually my favorite. How did I forget about that?
I forgot about it.
But yeah, just like everything about it, except for those damn cars you had to fight.
Fucking cars.
But that is one small thing I can overlook with the rest of it. I love the fact that everything about that world fit the theme perfectly. Not only did the audio that they changed up, the world itself is in black and white, everything like when a cutscene or world transition happened, they do the old fashioned black circles closing in. Like everything was awesome about it. I loved it. Why did I forget about that? I think
this happened when we talked about Kingdom Hearts 1 too, and I had to remind you about Halloween Town the first time.
Yeah, I guess because there's so much going on with the games, like it's hard to.
That's fair.
You think it's funny? Our minds always focus on the negative. I could always pick on the crappy world that I hate, but like to remember the good ones. It's like, oh, which one was it again? There's a lot of good ones, and that's like, oh yeah,
exactly. That's a good point. There's a lot of good ones. It's hard to narrow it down.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I do like the Pirates world a lot. Again, just because Pirates is it's just one of my favorite Disney franchises. But also, it's not the best world per se, but a world that I find like really enjoyable whenever I go to is the Pride Lands.
Really?
When you turn to Lion Sora and you get to do like two Kingdom, two Hearts, Pride Lands Drift with your heart with your lion. Whenever you're running and you just turn while you're dashing and you just like drift, I'm just like, yeah, okay, this makes it worth it. This is great.
Yeah, I enjoyed that world too. Well, we were talking earlier today, like, Lion King is one of my favorite animated Disney movies of all time. So, Yeah, no, I had a lot of nostalgic joy playing that world as well.
Yeah.
So, I like the pirates too. Like, and I can't really knock the game so hard because like every other world, as far as I know, except for Aladdin with Genie, they pretty much got every voice actor from the original movies or source materials they could, except for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, that was rough. That was rough.
You know what?
Yeah.
If they couldn't get them, I wish they could have cut someone that was similar, at least as best they could, because like they were. You know what? The guy that played Will wasn't half bad.
Yeah.
He wasn't great. He wasn't good. He wasn't. He was half bad. Like whoever they picked for. Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Going back
where they got drunk Obi-Wan.
Oh god.
Yikes.
Yeah. No, like as a kid playing it, I could overlook it because it was Jack Sparrow, right? But like listening to it now, it would be painful. It would be absolutely painful.
Yeah, I wonder if I should say... Yeah, fuck it. Okay, so I will spoil this right now. Pirates will return in a later game, and I will say the voice acting gets much better.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's but that's all I'll really say about that. But yeah, Pirates is... I love it, but like that's one of the aspects that like I cringe looking back on. It's just like that voice acting, because I think I read at one point that like they were supposed to get the original cast to reprise their roles, but because the pirate sequels were filming at that time, they're just like, oh, we don't have time to do that. So it's whatever though. I'm trying to think of some other worlds. We didn't have to do the Coliseum this time, Josh. I think the only time we really went to the Coliseum was to get final form, and that's it.
Oh no, because we helped Orin.
Well, yeah, we helped Orin. But
we didn't.
We
do
did
any
the story stuff, but we didn't do the actual Coliseum tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We just decided we're
just gonna forget about this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time you'd have to invest.
I mean, I probably, if I was playing this on my own, I probably would have. I like to explore as much as I can with games, but there is definitely to a point where it's like, holy cow, I do want to push the story along a little bit, but
Actually, speaking of that, should we jump into story then, or
yeah,
yeah, let's talk about it.
Whew. Wow.
Yeah.
I really, really loved it. Wow. Just, they took the first game, and it's funny because I was talking to the guys before we started recording. I was like, this reminds me of Star Wars so much. Like they took it's so like Star Wars in the sense that you got the first movie and you've got a storyline, and the way it ends is kind of open ending to a sense, or at least gives you enough of a conclusion you could probably just leave that on its own. But then the second one comes out because the first one was liked so much, and that's when the story gets really good. And things become a little bit more complicated, and just like everything I predicted too, like the fact that Riku, definitely his character arc got really good. Really good.
He's one of my favorite characters.
He is my favorite character. It was just like oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. Just sort of his progression of like where he started in Kingdom Hearts 1 to where he is at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm just like, this is so good. I love this arc for my edgelord son. I love him.
He's the emo son that we never had.
Exactly.
Kairi, kind of what I predicted about her actually doing some more useful stuff. She kind of almost did. She got a Keyblade at a certain point, but didn't really use it. But like everything else, though, like she seemed more strong-willed in this game than the first one, which I loved. Like, she seemed more like, I want to find Sora and Riku, like, where are they? Like, let's get shit done. Like, sure, she wasn't powerful in the sense that, like, she whooped people's asses to get what she wanted, but she was definitely more headstrong to get into going where she wanted to go, which I liked. I want to see more progression from her, though. I don't want her to be a boring-ass character that just...
Or
the damsel in distress.
Yeah, the woman that gets saved all the time, exactly.
Like, I like that they kind of pushed her towards, like, oh, we're going to actually have her, like... She even mentions, like, oh, Sora and Riku wouldn't make it without me, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paraphrasing, but... In the sense, like, oh, Sora wouldn't make it without Riku and I. Like, I like that. She's like... It's not the other way around, like, oh, God, like, if Riku and Sora weren't here, like, I don't know what I would do, like... Not that that would be horrible, but it's just, like, it's so overdone. It's nice to see this little bit of change. Roxas and Naminé, oh, boy.
Oh, yes.
You're hitting on my favorite character,
Yeah,
Roxas.
The blonde-haired kid from the Secret movie and Chain of Memories. He's finally here, and he's voiced by Jason McCartney.
It's kind of weird.
Even regardless, I love Roxas. He's been my favorite character ever since the beginning. He's the one that I started with.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, love that kid.
The fact that he can skateboard.
Exactly.
That was another game mechanic.
He's got a fucking toot on him too. I love it.
To go back, I almost forgot about that another game mechanic, the skateboard, and the fact that you can attack with it too. I love that. I just bash on enemies and dig around with it for.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roxas is really cool. I thought for sure, like, I was played into, like, I'm surprised I didn't pick up on the fact that, like, wait a minute, like, he looks kind of like Sora. Like, it took me a little while to realize, oh shit, like, wait a minute. Like, but definitely him. I kind of. Naminé played more of a part in Chain of Memories. I would have liked to see her a little bit more utilized in this game, but, like, still like to see her, and she still had a pretty decent part to play in this one. Diz.
Oh, yeah, Diz.
I think he is probably the best fleshed out character within a single game that I've seen so far. Like, that's a pretty broad statement, but, like, he has a full arc. Well, technically he's in the first game as well, and some, but, like, I mean, actually seeing him and having interact with characters in one single game, he had a complete arc.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was amazing to see, like, him go from, like, I gotta get revenge to, wow, like, I am definitely not perfect and I fucked up. Mm-hmm. But my apprentice, you've also learned, like, you've learned from my fuck up to also be a fuck up. Good luck. So, and the fact that he's voiced by Christopher Lee, like, goddamn.
Just gonna say, talk about Christopher Lee.
R.I.P. to the God. He's so good.
Oh, he is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss his voice.
Yeah.
To the nth degree.
Yeah, because I think this is. It's sad. This is the only game in the series that Christopher Lee voices that character. And I was just like, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I said in the Chain of Memories podcast, why Diz sounded like Count Dooku from Clone Wars, it's because in Kingdom Hearts 2 he's actually voiced by Count Dooku.
Like, goddamn.
Like, that's awesome.
They need a voice emulator with Christopher Lee's voice, you know, so somebody can speak to the emulator and then it's recorded into the actual game, because that voice is too iconic just to, like, not have in the game. I feel like in future games, if you don't have his voice as Diz, or if they bring him back or whatever, then, like, you just that character's lost. Like, no one's gonna connect with him anymore.
They probably can get someone similar.
Well, technically they do have Corey Burton. He kind of works he voiced Diz in Chain of Memories, and he did a pretty good job. I think in the next game he does take over for Christopher Lee.
We spoiled it already, technically.
Oh yeah, technically.
Oh well.
But, yeah. So
spoiler.
But yeah, he does a
Really?
pretty serviceable job. It's actually not bad.
Anyone who dies, are they really dead?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's true.
We're in the year of our Lord 2019. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to think for other characters. I would have I don't know if they'll make another return, but Hayner, and the other two.
Oh God,
Hayner,
I couldn't even
Pence,
remember.
and Alette. Yeah.
Hayner, Pence, and Alette. I like them, but I
Me
wish
too.
they would have been more a part of the story. Like, I wish I would have saw them more. It's
Not
like
just-
it's so bad that I forget to, like,
Right.
that's what I mean. Like, I already forgot to.
And you
The
know, not
names.
just be data.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was kind of cool. The whole Cloud and the Final Fantasy characters as well, seeing them was quite pretty awesome.
How about that Organization 13 though?
Oh,
Those guys.
you're actually, how could I miss the big one? I definitely agree with you with jeez, I'm drawing another blank. Your favorite one of the
Axel.
Axel's definitely probably my favorite as well. I wish their names weren't so goddamn complicated. Like, I think it's cool on one hand, but jeez, like, when you got 13 members, like, I guess you can't really just have Bob, Sally, and, Tim and Sue. Like, it can be boring, but jeez Louise, like, Larksine and freaking, Axel's pretty easy, I guess, but, jeez Louise, like, it's hard to remember all of them.
Yep.
I could best just describe them by their weapons they have.
Yeah.
But
the spear guy and the big axe guy
And the card guy.
Yeah.
oh my God, Luke's Sword. Yeah. The Mr. Guitar Man.
I definitely like that they had I definitely like that they all had their own personalities and their own different traits. But again, the whole less is more. It's just yeah, sure, they all have traits and they're all slightly different, but only a handful of them were really playing a big part in the whole story and the whole. Axel played the biggest part, but the rest of them, some of them were just flat out cannon fodder for Sora that just kind of beat up, and then that was it. Guitar guy, literally, that was it. I don't remember much else besides kicking his ass, and that was it. What else did he do?
He had a cool guitar.
That's true. I get it's also you can't have 13 members and all of them have to play a big part.
Mm-hmm.
And you also need bosses for the game. Otherwise the games could be really short. It was Organization 2. And both of them played a huge part in the story. But yeah, they could have trimmed that down a little bit and maybe added a little more story for some of them and whatnot. But I still really liked it. I like the idea they had members all different. They didn't just make them all the same. For regular nobodies and regular heartless, they're all pretty much the same. You got some variations, but it's nice to see oh shit, these guys actually have separate characteristics. Mm-hmm. They're all different people, all different character designs.
Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Considering the whole premise of them is that they are the lesser versions of their
original self.
counterparts,
Yeah,
right? The fact that they've been so fleshed out like that means that they put a lot of attention into the detail.
Yeah, I think that's also a really cool concept. When you introduce the Heartless, there was actually a secret Ansem report that we didn't actually get to read in the first Kingdom Hearts that was added in the final mix version that sort of described what the new entity that's introducing this game, the Nobodies, are, which I think was really fascinating. Is when a person loses their heart, they become a Heartless. Well, what happens to the leftover body and soul? Well, that actually, if that person has a strong enough will, strong enough soul, then that the body will start moving on its own, and because it's the body and the soul, they're able to think and plan, and that's how a nobody is formed. And I think that's really fascinating to go into, the idea that these people don't have hearts, but they still try to remember and want what that feeling was like. I think that's really fascinating to dig into.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Also, biggest character development. I would like to shout out to Pete and
Maleficent?
Maleficent with near the end. Just, yo, we want this castle and we have mutual interest, so we're gonna help you guys out.
Like, fuck this army of Heartless up.
Just, yeah.
I
But
wish they would have let us see them fight a little bit. Just a little bit. Instead of fading away.
well, come
Because
on,
we
that's,
see this big ass army of Heartless coming down, and they're like, fuck off, we got this.
come on, that's Maleficent's freaking A1 thing to do is just disappear randomly
that's
with
true.
an exclamation.
That's true. But I mean, for her to like, bring some A-game sorcery to just fuck up these Heartless, it would have been cool to see. Or Pete running around with his giant beer belly.
Yeah.
Who is the guy that first gives you clothes or Wallace?
Yensid. Master
I wish
Yensid
he
from
played more
Fantasia.
of a part too as well, because like I barely remembered him until like now.
Josh, I'm going to tell you, I'll spoil this for you right now. He does play a bigger role in later games.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Like that's one thing I'm liking about the series is like for the most part they play all their cards well in terms of storytelling and character wise. Minus like I said, they can only do so much realistically with Organization 13, but they're still really good with playing with the characters that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess now on to predictions for the next.
I guess, yeah. Seeing as how we're going to wrap up on story, before we get into predictions on the game, I think we kind of need to talk about the where the series goes from here. And to, I guess, start off on that, we got to talk about the secret ending.
Oh, yeah.
So before we went into the end game portion, I had Josh play all the secret bosses, all the absent silhouettes, the Cavern of Remembrance, fighting Sephiroth, getting the resolution with that, and of course fighting the hardest boss in the game, the Lingering Will. It's this suit of armor that shows up in this like abandoned like a canyon. Who's really hard. He's able to transform his Keyblade into a bunch of things like a whip and a cannon, and it was really hard. It took us a few hours to beat him.
And then you did it too, because holy cow.
Yeah, even for a so-called master of Kingdom Hearts like myself, who was playing on a level 99 file, was still having trouble trying to beat this man. But yeah, but he talks about like how he has some sort of connection to Xehanort, and he felt a certain power within Sora. And we didn't really know what exactly that meant. Cut to the secret ending, where we see the Lingering Well alongside two other people in armor, one of which was female. I don't know if you remember this, Josh, but one of the earlier cutscenes that was actually added where Xemnas goes into that back room in Hollow Bastion, and there's that armor set laying around there. He's like, "It's been far too long, friend." And it's like that armor scanning out. Yeah, it's the that was that female warrior's armor there. But yeah, they're walking around in this cavern, and there's the Keyblades of like Sora and Riku and King Mickey are just standing there. They pick them up, and then there's this fuckload of Keyblades just laying around in the ground in this desert. It's so weird, and you see all these flashes of words like, oh, the math, like Xehanort and Chasers and the Keyblade War. Keyblade War.
Holy shit!
What happened? So that was the first secret movie, and then the second secret movie happened, where this bald man just bobs and weaves on these three Keyblade wielders, just nukes them. I think Frustrated Jacob put it best in his Kingdom Hearts 2 analysis that it was basically a Monty Owen video with a budget. Like, it's like super high concept, amazing action choreography, and just a really solid piece of Kingdom Hearts footage. It is hands down one of the best, if not the best secret movie that the series has ever produced. And I'm going to tell you this right now. When that secret movie hit, the entire fandom lost their minds, because the way Kingdom Hearts 2 ends, it almost feels like the series could end right then and there. Like, it ends on a really perfect level. Sora and Riku go home to Kairi. They of course get a letter from Mickey, but it's just with the assumption that they're going to go off on a new adventure, and you can just sort of leave it there. But the secret movie opened up so many avenues. Like, we're going in this like really like dark area, and this fueled the idea of what the so-called Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be. If you'll give me a second, I'm just going to move over to the computer here for a second to show you guys. So, for the longest time, after that secret movie came out, this concept art, this fan-made concept art floated around of a PlayStation 3 box art called Kingdom Hearts 3 The Keyblade War, rated T for teen. Everybody and their mother thought that this is the new direction that Kingdom Hearts was going, that it was going to be this really grimdark, serious, ultra, like, hectic, epic finale to the story. Unfortunately, we weren't going to get that. At least not right away. So this was maybe... Let's flash back. We're gonna do a little bit of history to talk about the next bit of games here. So 2005, 2006, Kingdom Hearts 2 is released. Critical acclaim, everybody loves it. And so initially Disney approaches Tetsuya Nomura with the idea of wanting to do a sequel, and he says that's cool. However, SquareEnix has tapped Nomura to work on another project, which I'm actually just going to pull up the trailer for now to show you guys what he was working on at that time. You can talk amongst yourselves while I try and fill in the.
I was gonna say too, it's funny that both games end on the same island, facing the sunset with the water and whatnot. And also, what the hell? Sora and Riku fall from the sky like meteors into the water, and then Kyrie's like, "Hey guys, like nothing happened."
You were in a laughing fit.
I was laughing. Like, it just so out of nowhere.
You were nuts. I know, it was. It was so random.
When your friends just get thrown up by the sky,
falling down into the water. Your first reaction is to be like, "What up?
Hey, grab a cold one. Come on in."
Exactly.
Okay, so Square Enix approached Tetsuya Nomura in around 2006 to eventually develop a project that he apparently wanted to work on for a very long time, which was this. So, yeah. That was the project that Square decided to put Nomura on, who apparently had wanted to work on this project for forever. So Final Fantasy Versus 13. Obviously, this was part of a larger Final Fantasy franchise that was announced around this time, called the Fabula Nova Crystallis franchise. I think that's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. It was basically going to be based on a larger universe around Final Fantasy 13, which was announced around that time, including Final Fantasy Agito 13, I think it's called. It eventually became Final Fantasy Type 0, and Final Fantasy Versus 13, which would go through years of development hell to eventually become Final Fantasy 15. That's a yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of development hell, which is well deserving of its own topic. There's a bunch of videos covering its development and whatnot, so if you want to go check those out, you can. But basically, when this was announced back in E3 of 2006, this was basically Nomura's project that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into for the better half of less than a decade. So because of this, he wasn't really able to have a lot of time to work on like a big mainline Kingdom Hearts title for a while. So the idea of Kingdom Hearts 3 mainly lingered as a rumor and an idea that just existed in the fan base for a while, and that's about it. So we weren't really sure if we were going to get another like really big Kingdom Hearts 3 game soon. Instead, what happened, because interest for Kingdom Hearts was still really high, like Kingdom Hearts 2 was fantastic and people want more of it. Eventually, when the Final Mix version came out, there was a remake of Chain of Memories for PS2. We already covered this in the last episode. So in 2007 at Tokyo Game Show, Square did something pretty surreal. They announced not one, not two, but 3 new Kingdom Hearts games that I personally myself have dubbed the Handheld Trilogy. Basically, it were 3, I guess you could call them spin-offs, that would cover sort of different side stories happening within the Kingdom Hearts chronology that would all possibly eventually lead to a new, bigger Kingdom Hearts title. And they're called the Handheld Trilogy because, of course, they were all going to be released on handheld platforms, excuse me. And those will be the games that we're going to be covering next. The titles... Oh, Jesus. The titles were... Are you guys ready for this? This is gonna be real fun. The titles were Kingdom Hearts 358 and a half Days for Nintendo DS, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for PlayStation Portable, and Kingdom Hearts Coded for mobile phones. Yeah, those are the actual titles. They were all going to be covering different, like I said, they're all going to be covering different aspects of the Kingdom Hearts chronology at different points. 358 Days, which is going to be the next game that we're going to be covering, takes place between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and runs kind of parallel with Chain of Memories. Birth by Sleep is a straight-up prequel that takes place before Kingdom Hearts, and then Coded, well, we'll get to that.
I'm assuming we're going to be watching cutscenes.
Yeah. For Days specifically, which will be, like I said, will be the next game that we're going to be covering. It was when it was added to the HD collection. They didn't actually make it a full-length game because they were translating it from the Nintendo DS, which was pretty difficult to do on a PlayStation 3 at that point. So what they did instead was they remastered a buttload of cutscenes from the game, fully remade with voice acting and whatnot, and just basically made it into a cutscene compilation. It's not really a movie because it doesn't really have like the pacing and flow of like an actual movie and whatnot. But yeah, that's what we'll eventually be covering on the podcast. And yeah, I think the same thing with Coded happened where it was just a compilation cutscenes, and we'll be covering that later. But Birth by Sleep will actually be an actual game that we'll be playing. So, and then of course we'll cover that in the next episode about how we're going to do that. But yeah, like I said, moving into the topic, I just want to give you guys a brief history of what sort of led us to this point. Days was the first game that was released in 2009 on Nintendo DS, and it focuses on Roxas and sort of his time in Organization 13. So we'll be able to get a little bit more information about that. But other than that, I think that basically covers my history point. So now that you kind of have an understanding of like where the series is going to go from here, and especially what the next game is going to cover, gentlemen, what are your predictions for the next games, specifically for Days?
I think, well, obviously we're going to see a lot more character development, again, with Riku.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to see a lot of, like, him being torn up, not being able to communicate with Sora quite a bit. And the fact that he's probably going to be quite alone, other than, like, King Mickey, probably have, like, him here and there. But it'll be interesting to see, because they'll have to change up well, they don't have to, but like it'll be interesting to see like playing as his character and seeing his character around, play style wise, and yeah. Other than that, I think it'll probably be very brief because it's only a portable game. I have a feeling it's probably gonna be shorter.
Slightly shorter. I think it's about 3 hours ish of cutscenes.
Yeah. Other than that, we might have because you said it's based off Organization 13. It'll probably flesh out a lot of the characters better. At least probably. I'm hoping it fleshes out more of the ones that didn't show up as much. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else to add.
Yeah, I think Sawyer, you might be around for when we cover Days. Do you have any predictions for it?
I'm excited. Like I said, Roxas is one of my favorite characters, and have a game centered around him and what he was doing in the time that we didn't see him during Kingdom Hearts 2 really excites me. That was one of my gripes with Kingdom Hearts 2 was the fact that we didn't get to see Roxas progress through Organization 13. We're just kind of told that he's in Organization 13. We see it, but we don't really learn in depth how he got there, what he did in Organization 13, all that stuff to get to where he was. So to have a game centered around him and the struggle between his loyalties to Organization 13 and his counterpart, Sora, will be really interesting to see.
Okay.
So I think more than the actual series games 1 and 2, I'm actually more excited for this one.
Interesting.
So
Now to think about it, you bring up a good point because he probably had to do some things that he wasn't really proud of.
Exactly.
In order to keep, suspicion away from. It's like, this guy seems to be way too nice for our cause.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what happens in between as well. And it'll be more. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more focused too, because that was the thing. Again, good story in this game, but there's a lot going on. Multiple layers. It's like the Matrix had a weird love child with Disney and SquareEnix. Story-wise, it's just all over. If you keep on it, it makes sense, but it's there's a lot going on. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more focused on the fact that we only have one character to really focus on with what's going on with him instead of so many other ones.
It definitely takes more than one playthrough to fully get a grasp on everything.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
To see the bigger picture of what's going on takes a lot of effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I guess that will be the next title that we jump into, and I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed this game. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite video game of all time. So the fact that I was able to introduce to you guys and you guys enjoy it is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys react to the later games that we come into. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts 2 and the later games in the series kind of act as sort of a litmus test for Nomura's writing, which is kind of like if you like it, then you're kind of on his crazy ride for the rest of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys seeing your guys' reaction to all that stuff. But until then, I think that's a good place to end it here. Thank you both for joining me for today's episode. Josh, as always, for joining me, and Sawyer for showing up for today's extra special episode, my friend.
You can't see him. We've got him at gunpoint. Don't worry.
yeah. Don't worry. I'll put the free shooter down. Okay.
I'm free!
Almost made me spit my drink, good lord. Like I said, guys, I think the audio quality will be good for next episode. But until next time, I think this is a good place to cut it here. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and be sure to follow Shadow Shover Productions on both Twitter and Instagram for more information on yours truly. And until next time, I'd say that's about it. Anything else you guys want to add?
We need more hearts, damn it!
We do need more hearts!
Send all the hearts.
Kingdom Hearts!
Send it to the moon!
Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. May your heart be your guiding key. Take care, everybody. Bye.